Thinking when you talk about culture, I have in my short experience in America, I've seen, and we have spoken about this before, how I think there has to be a change, a shift in the paradigm of education if we want to really get K through 12 out of the hole it is.
You see this? This comes from the state. I just attended a meeting. It hasn't changed in 50 years.
How is it possible?
How is it possible? Because they look at education as a state right, and the guys who make the laws are lawyers. Okay? Getting a little better, but most of them lawyers, or businessmen, etc. The second thing, the reason it doesn't change, is that K-12 has more females than males. But more males are in control than females.
So there's more male principals,
more
there's
male
superintendents.
There's more females than male, but more males are in control. So it's a minority controlling a majority.
in terms of sex.
In terms of gender, yeah.
Sex. The other thing that controls is the environment. Most of these women are 22 and over. They have a family. They have to go home from work and prepare dinner for whom? For the man. Most. Okay? So they don't want to change because they're doing school at 8 o'clock approximately, and they leave school 2:30, 3 o'clock approximately, and they got 3 hours between the man come home. So they take their kids out of school because the kids are in school also. So it's a good place to put their kids, and then they take the kid, they bring the kids to school, and they take the kid home because the kids follow the hours. Okay? Very nice for married women. Very nice for married women. So they get paid, they have nice hours for them, and they love it. They have a nice relationship with the kids. And nobody bothers them.
Yeah, why would you change that?
Why would you change that? Why would you want to change
It's an interesting analysis for sure.
You want to keep it the way it is?
The way it is, because it's nice how it is.
It's nice. So if the staff doesn't want to change, and you are here, and you want it to change, you got a hell of a job to do.
That's right.
So you got to convince this group and this group. And if you can't convince this group and this group, then you're never going to get a change.
And that type of complacency is what I see the most, even in people that we met some of those, and we say, this is a good man, and he's also a good teacher. But then he's too complacent. I mean, he will not go the extra mile to help the students out. So you start to think of them as nice people collecting a paycheck.
They are nice people.
Yeah.
They are nice people.
No, they aren't. I mean, in the end, not service.
But you change. Why isn't it happening? I've been at this now, I'm 84. I started out when I was 21.
Yeah, it's been 60 years. So
I left 2 beautiful universities to come here, which was nothing. It was a field, he'll tell you. Absolute field. Everyone thought I lost my mind. Even I thought I lost my mind after I was here for 3 years.
What was I thinking?
I thought I was dead. I figured, I'll go somewhere else because I can't go to better schools than I left. I left Harvard and Berkeley.
But still, there has to be an answer somewhere out there.
There is. No, not out there.
In here.
You got to create the environment and the need for the change. The need for the change. In 1969, we were going to close the doors. When I took over, they were going to close the doors. We were $4 million in the hole, 17 students, 35 employees. That's it. That was Nova.
Is that when you stepped up and said, I'll give it a shot?
Well,
Because I have this plan?
only because the chairman asked me.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't have a bad bone in his body. He was a farmer, really a wonderful human being, a cultural man, opera, symphonies, graduated University of Pennsylvania, owned most of the land around here. He was a nice guy, beautiful guy. He told me to take it over for a year. Got rid of the first president, because I was the second president. And I went to him at the end of the first year that I took over. I said, we're not going to become the MIT of the South. If you want the MIT of the South, it can't be done. But if you let me do what I want to do, I'll build your university. He went back to this group, the trustees. He was chairman. He was my back. Took my back. People here complained. People here complained. He listened nicely. But he saw that once I created distance education and got it approved, all of a sudden I was bringing in cash. And by my third year, 800 principals were enrolled in this university without buildings. I taught wherever they were, 20 groups, 20 people in a group. So I had a cluster in Hartford, Connecticut, another one down here, one in California, two in California, in fact. But it came in. All of a sudden we had money. This group said, what about a law school, Abe? I says, all you have to do is go out and raise $1 million. You raise $1 million, I'll build you a law school. They didn't raise $1 million. So we had a standoff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the library. That's the cost of the library. You got to open the door with a library. I didn't have $1 million from this other stuff to be able to both do that.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew I was serious because it was January. The only one I had was a dean and a librarian. I didn't hire the rest yet. So my good friend Jim Farquhar said, hey, go get the students. And if you don't have the money, we'll have a library.
Interesting.
That's all I needed.
That's a great story.
Yeah, you know, they're not realists. They're not realists. They're bright people, but not for this world. Not for this one that I was in. So they gave me the freedom to do what I could do, but it wasn't the MIT of the South. How did I know? Because I couldn't get a physicist to come from people I knew for physicists. I knew them at MIT, I knew them at Harvard, I knew them at Berkeley. Not one said they'll come. What were they going to come to?
Mm-hmm.
There was no reason for them to leave these great institutions to come over here.
Yeah.
I had nothing to give them.
Mm.
Oceanography came. That was successful. That was the only successful science we had. Then I brought the germ-free laboratory from Notre Dame here, and I brought them here only because they had a $750,000 contract to grow germ-free mice.
Mm.
And they were used to do research. All of a sudden I had mice on my campus. We were sending out boxes. So it was easy for me to recruit some biologists that were interested in using the mice,
Mm-hmm.
but they had to get funded. So they had to be researchers with a track record.
Yeah.
And that worked. So all of a sudden we had the germ-free laboratory here. And we had some scientists. So we had some PhD students. And they didn't pay tuition. We supported them with the research dollars. And oceanography were doing the same. So we had good students because they didn't have to pay, doing good research with scientists that were researchers. and it worked.